Well, as I was saying, I'd like to return back to the local traffic situation a little bit. The tunnel takes the through traffic we just discussed, but you need the other one too, which is the floating bridge. And going back to that, I'd like to point out how the local traffic situation is helped by the floating bridge. And we start out with Elliott Bay, in Elliott Bay. Okay, now we start out with Harbor Island, and then we go up over the railroad tracks to Beacon Hill. Okay, then we come down and we can go to Royal Bromway where the old ramps that went nowhere were, and serve the sports areas. Then we go to Madison Spring Street for the access up to the hills to the hospitals, and then we keep on going over here to through the Batter Street and assume a tunnel under Wall Street parallel to it, and go into Aurora, a depressed, improved Aurora. And if you go straight ahead, you go on Western Avenue all the way up to Magnolia. I don't know of any place else in the in the hourglass figure of Seattle that you can put 10 lanes and get access to all those local origins and destinations. Okay, now let's get back to it. As we were saying, we'll go back to talking about the tunnel. The tunnel is for interstate. The tunnel under the Lake Washington. This would probably fulfill the new department in the Federal Highway Administration trying to get local traffic off of I-5.
So we're really talking about truly the viability of both concepts.
Yep.
And simultaneously addressing both projects and getting something done.
That's right. If either one of them are finished, it will help. But if
Sure.
they do both, I'm just conceited enough to think that the entire problem of gridlock in the Puget Sound area would go away.
Or certainly
Probably
be made manageable.
Yes, probably. And where else can you do that in 6 years? 6 years. Probably you could finish both of them simultaneously in 6 years or 10.
So if we have as it turns out, a very workable concept for 18 miles worth of tunnel under Lake Washington to carry interstate traffic north and south. Suddenly, whew, a big load off I-5. If with the floating highway on Elliott Bay and the 5, did I count them right, 5 interchange connectors into the metro, we then relieve that pressure. Mm-hmm. We've done a great lot of good. Mm-hmm. The people would like to say, go with that. How do we do that? Are we writing our senators? Are we going to the polls? What's this going to take to get it to happen?
Well, I believe that you had, and I'm ashamed to tell you that I don't remember the name, and they may have changed by now, that you want to get to the state legislature and call up the legislative offices and find out who they were, Madam Chairwomen's, both of the House and Senate Transportation Committee of the legislature.
All right,
that would be a good place to start, okay, because each one of those boards has quite a few, both in the House and Senate, have quite a few members, and they make recommendations to the rest of the legislature. So I would start with, and then your own local legislator, your own member of the House and Senate of the state of Washington, for starters. Mostly right now, I'm really concerned because I believe very shortly, if not right after, we might be too late with this broadcast. Very shortly, the legislature is allegedly going to make decisions on whether they want to proceed with this 2-mile tunnel, which I do not want to see built. I would rather see that money go to these other causes.
So if the people speak up to their state lawmakers, specifically those involved in the transportation committees, we might have something to say about it. And it certainly makes sense because ultimately, who pays for it?
That's right.
All right.
The rest of the people in the state, by the way, I had a huge number of hits on my website. And people that remember my initiative that I almost got on the ballot was a statewide initiative.
Right.
And so I had more coverage in the media in Portland, of all things, which is out of our state, and in Spokane. There's a lot of people in eastern Washington don't want to pay for these things, like tunnels, just so people can look out their, and so the viaduct can come down so people can look out their windows of the first layer of office buildings. There's a lot of that too. And then you have to pay due respect to whoever wins in the forthcoming elections. For instance, Susan Hutchinson as a new county executive. The county executive has got responsibilities that include traffic for the entire Puget Sound region. And so the county executive is one you want to keep on board with our thinking. The mayors, whoever wins, the two people who won the primary, they may be able to assist in bringing this about, but they will have their own problems coordinating if we are successful in the surface streets. For instance, the road that I suggest going up to Madison and Spring Street, they're one way, and they may have to change that to get up to the hospitals or something like that. I can't, at this point in time, those things are above and beyond my concern. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Overall, these are viable programs. There aren't any really commanding options. There are counter forces at play, obviously, but this is a way to go. And all we have to do is let them know.
Right.
All right.
I think so, and I think that some of the contractors had better open their eyes. For instance, the guy that I haven't got a clue who's is trying to get the contract to build a 2-mile-long tunnel. He should be dancing with glee with the idea of building an 18-mile-long one.
I would think.
And the people that are talking about the fixed structures along the waterfront, replacing viaducts and things like that, they should be dumping up and down with glee because I have a structure, a fixed bridge that has to go over the railroad track to get up to Beacon Hill. There's still plenty of work for those contractors. It's just that somebody, and I'm just conceited enough to say at least I have an idea for both projects, to get through traffic go through and get local traffic off of I-5. There may be others, but I haven't seen them. Where else are you going to get 10 lanes, through the hourglass figure of Seattle?
Unless we hear from them, we're going with you.
Hey, thank you.
Mr. Hall, thank you again for being with us. Please do this. Keep us posted. As you see this process move forward from your perspective, we would invite you back again to make sure we're on top of this. This isn't going to go away.